Let's talk about dolls. Hello, everybody. I want to have a conversation with you guys today. This video is for adult doll collectors or adults interested in doll collecting, okay? I want to just have a short conversation with you, and this is going to be a voiceover. I'm going to be unboxing the Barbie Deluxe style doll. She's the rare fine Christie mold doll. Boy, I had a time finding her. I had to actually buy her off Mercari because I could not find her in the stores. So I'm going to be unboxing her, but as I do that, I'm going to be playing this voiceover in the background. So if you're an adult doll collector or interested in collecting dolls, this video may be for you. If you like the content, hit the like so I know you like it. This is a new YouTube channel, so I don't know exactly what I'll be doing in this channel, but I will have a special playlist for adult doll collecting because I'm passionate about that, and I do need an outlet on YouTube where I can be surrounded by like minds. Anyway, I want to briefly start talking about why I started collecting dolls. Yes, my parents got me dolls as kids, and I love them. But recently, in 2020, when COVID happened, no, it was a little before COVID had really hit. I have two daughters, and then they were much younger. They would be playing with dolls, and just one day, I thought to record them. And then we talked about putting the show on YouTube. And it became a big production with a lot of characters, with personalities, and all that. And it was really great and gave us some bonding time. And I remember seeing this one particular doll on Amazon, Rainbow High doll, Georgia Bloom. She was so pretty to me, like the most beautiful doll I had ever seen. And then one of the girls' aunties ended up gifting one of them the doll. And I think it kind of started from there. I started wanting my own dolls. And then I looked into Rainbow High and I discovered Vanessa Tempo. And of course, at the time I discovered her, because this is a habit I have, the doll is already a hard to find rare doll. So I end up buying her from Mercari. Anyway, that's my story of how I started collecting dolls. So right now I don't really have a lot of dolls, but I've got enough. Right. And some of the dolls I was buying for the girls, and then the girls and I together ended up with like 80 dolls. Right. But I want to talk about the pros and cons of doll collecting. I want to talk about the pros. Obviously, it's fun. Right. It's stress relief for me because I have so much going on that it's nice to get a break to just sit down and do something like unbox a new doll, change the outfits of the doll, photograph the doll in different poses. You know, that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of stress relief for me. And it also encourages my creativity. One thing about me is I'm very creative. I like writing poetry, songs, making music. I just like to create things. So for me, when I started with the girls with our doll show, we started creating characters and storylines and plots, and it became an actual series, and it's still on YouTube right now. So, you know, it's like an outlet for creativity. But I started finding that I wanted to explore maybe some more adult themes. And so I said, you know, maybe I need to also have my own channel, my own outlet, you know. So that's another pro. You know, you get to play with your kids and have bonding time, but at the same time, you get to play alone too and have a good time by yourself. And, you know, it's always good to have a positive habit that, you know, keeps you busy, you know, and helps you express your creativity. If you're like me, I believe it's really important to have outlets to express your creativity, right? So I don't think for any doll collector, you know, there's any debate on the pros because it's just fun. And so many different dolls on the market. They look different, the different fashions. You know, when I was little, we didn't have articulated dolls. You know, I'm an 80s, 90s baby. So now to have articulation and to see how far that's come, it's like a whole new world out here. And then now as adults, we can buy as many dolls as we want, right? But that's when we get to the cons. And first, I want to address some of the things I find that are cons. And then I'm going to address some solutions to it. And then I'm going to have the comments open so you guys can share with me your pros and cons, and then your viewpoint on doll collecting as an adult. So I want to just start off with the cons. I want to say it can be expensive. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Like for the doll I'm unboxing now, you know, she was a rare find doll. And by the way, please excuse the dog barking in the background if you hear that, okay? If the camera picks it up. But yeah, so she's a rare find Christie doll. And so this is the second time this happened. First time I was looking for Tiara Song, and I'm going to insert a picture of her right here. The Rainbow High doll, she was one of the exclusive dolls. By the time I found that she existed, actually this is the third time because first was Vanessa Tempo. By the time I found out these dolls existed, they were already not sold in the stores anymore. So I was they were already on their way out of the stores. So I literally, for Tiara Song, went to probably like 6 Targets. The girls were with me. I'm going around the city looking for this doll, you know, and I end up ordering her online from a reseller, which is cool, you know, but obviously if you buy from a reseller, you end up spending a little bit more money, right? Adult doll collectors know how that goes. So not only can it be expensive if you're hunting for this doll and you end up spending even more money than you intended to buying from a reseller, but then you can end up disappointed when you don't find the doll that you're looking for, right? And, you know, the whole point is to have fun with it. Like, you don't want to end up disappointed. So there were times I felt disappointed, even not so much because I spent so much on the doll, but because while I was waiting to find the doll, it was frustrating. And who needs more frustration in their lives, right? So then the next kind of adult doll collecting is, when does it stop? FOMO, fear of missing out. And this is something near and dear and personal to me that I've dealt with. Because a lot of times, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're on Facebook, there's doll groups that I love on Facebook and I'm active in, and they're dropping, oh, new doll coming out, right? Or I'm on Instagram and I'm subbed to this doll channel that I love, new doll coming out, new wave coming out, rare find or whatever. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's better than the last doll. I gotta get her, or I gotta get him. And then I'm checking every day on Amazon to see if the doll is there and the doll drops. And let me tell you the time really quickly that I had getting Aaliyah, okay? If anybody has Aaliyah, drop in the comments and let me know, because the time I had ordering her, I didn't order right away when I should have. And I had to wait months. Everybody was charging so much for her. I was happy when Mattel re-released her. I was able to get her re-released. Because let me tell you, I thought I would never get Aaliyah. And I'm going to drop pictures of the Aaliyah doll here. Okay? She's going to stay unboxed. I'm sorry. She's going to stay boxed as a collector's item. But I'm sorry. I got distracted. But I was talking about fear of missing out, because everybody else has this popular, beautiful doll. And you don't have the popular, beautiful doll. So you start feeling like, man, I got to hurry up and get this doll. And that's all you're thinking about. I don't know if it's just me, right? But that's a con. Because in real life, you're not the only one who doesn't have the doll. And honestly, if you don't get the doll, is it the end of the world? It's not. And sometimes if you're collecting so much, and this goes along the lines of it being expensive, it's like, when does it stop? And then that leads to my next con. It's kind of like chasing a high, right? Because sometimes I'm so excited to get this doll. And when I order the doll, it's like the countdown is on to get the doll. And then the doll arrives and the doll is beautiful. And then the doll stays in the box. Or then it's like I have the doll, like Tiara Song. I've had her like 2 years already. And it's like, man, this is a material item. I shouldn't put that much value on a material item, right? But it's like all the excitement is in waiting for the doll to arrive. And then like once the doll arrives, am I the only one? It's like, oh man, okay. Now what's the next big thing, right? And I feel like just in life in general, sometimes we live it like, what's the next big thing? What are we going to do next? We're always chasing something. And when you live like that, you don't get to slow down and appreciate where you're at right now. and the things you have right now because you're so busy chasing the next thing. And we can see how that leads to spending a lot of money. I had to cut back on spending money because it's always going to be a new doll or a new thing. And that gets expensive. And if you're trying to budget and, you have things you're trying to pay for or financial goals you're trying to meet, that's not it, right? So then this leads me to another topic when I'm talking about, okay, I got to keep getting them and keep getting them. When does it stop? The space issue and the clutter issue. Oh my goodness. I'm in the process of decluttering our home. I've been in that process for a couple years. And part of that was I actually asked the girls which dolls, you're done with playing with. We're donating some. We've resold some on eBay, and we still got a lot of them because I know a lot of them they're going to want to keep or whatever. And some of them are mine. But it's just like the space of having all these dolls. We don't have enough space. We don't have a doll room to store them, So every time you bring something in, you should be getting rid of a item like it, right? So let's say you have socks with holes in them and you buy new ones, right? Make sure you get rid of the old socks. You get what I'm trying to say. Don't keep piling things on because that's how you end up with clutter. And clutter, correct me if I'm wrong, and comment and hit the like button if you can relate. Clutter is stressful. It's just as stressful as spending a lot of money, money you don't have or money that could be going to use for other things. So when you have clutter, you don't think as clearly, and that's stressful. And then that cancels out the pro of using your creativity and having fun and having stress relief. So, if you don't do it right, adult doll collecting can turn into a con, right? But this is a positive space here, right? So there's a point to what I'm telling you. So bear with me. These are my tips for making the most out of doll collecting. And I'm still learning, right? But these are my tips. And my first tip is to be selective. Be picky about what dolls you want. Set limits. Have a budget for your dolls. Okay, this is how much I'm going to spend for this month or this year or whatever. Maybe this week if you have to. But just have a budget so that you're not just scrolling and then adding dolls to the cart just because it's a good deal. Because now that we have so much access to online stores, you don't have to physically go to the store to buy. So they're getting you because you're window shopping and adding stuff to the cart you didn't even think you wanted, but now you need it, right? Because you see it there. And that's life in general. But you just want to be selective about, what dolls you're picking. Have a budget in mind. And then, if you have a lot of dolls and you feel like the time has come where you need to declutter, don't feel bad about either reselling the dolls. You can use eBay or Mercari. We've resold a lot of dolls, and we don't even charge that much, just trying to clear space and, maybe help somebody else who's looking for dolls. Just make a little money in the process. You can donate them, give them to a loved one, or you can donate to Salvation Army or Goodwill or something like that. I should just say Goodwill. I don't know if Salvation Army accepts dolls. But I'm just saying, you can find them another home, and you can just repurpose them, find another home. But I would say just being very selective. So overall, guys, and this is just an intro video to my viewpoints on adult doll collecting. And I know I probably missed some key points, but I'm just trying to get this out while I'm home alone. And just to let you know that with anything we do in life, we need balance. And that's a struggle for me. And I know I'm not alone. But with anything you do in life, it's going to have pro con, but find your middle ground and find where you're happy. And, it's great to create and have hobbies, but you want to make sure that it's not causing you stress when it should be causing you happiness. So I hope you guys can relate to this video. And if anybody is looking to start adult doll collecting, keep that in mind. Have your budgets and your limits in mind, and don't feel that you're always left out, because I've been through that, and that's expensive. When you have that fear of missing out. I also went through it with the LeBron doll, and he's a great doll. I love him. Love the doll. Let me say that. But, when you have that fear of missing out, what is supposed to be stress relief is now stressful. So if you can relate to anything I've said, just drop a comment below. I want to find my community of adult doll collecting lovers. So if that's you, let me know. yeah, that's the best I could say. So I hope you like this beautiful doll that I just unboxed. And I want to thank you for watching me unbox her. And I want to thank you for tuning in. And if you like this content, consider subscribing. Like I said, this is not going to be a doll channel, but dolls are definitely a part of my life and definitely an outlet that I have for my creativity. So there is definitely a playlist for adult doll collectors. So thank you for watching this video.